In this episode, Elena Herdieckerhoff from Germany. So Elena is an award-winning serial entrepreneur and successful TEDx speaker with over 4 million views on YouTube. In her TEDx talk, she explains why we need to change the prevalent cultural narrative around highly sensitive people. As a highly sensitive person, an HSP, and acclaimed intuitive coach and business mentor since 2014, she empowers HSPs around the world to turn their sensitivity into their greatest asset in life and business. Her big mission is to create a love revolution led by caring souls to affect global change and raise human consciousness to the next level. Elena is also the CEO of Red Dot Stage, a TEDx speaker coaching company that specializes in helping visionaries land, craft, and deliver viral TEDx talks. Elena previously founded and sold a successful international luxury beauty brand, Selexir of Switzerland. And on a personal note, Elena is trilingual, English, German, and French, and also a Reiki master and lifelong spiritual seeker. When she is not helping others pursue their dreams, she is passionate about studying consciousness and psychology, living an organic lifestyle, and enjoying time with her beloved family and friends. Everyone, enjoy Elena Herdieckerhoff.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for having me.
Yeah, it's wonderful to connect again in this way, and sometimes you just don't have to see someone in person, but you know that they also lead with love and from the heart. So yeah, it's really wonderful to also connect in this way.
Yes, I love it. I feel like I've known you for many years, and now it's our opportunity to connect almost face to face.
Yes. Yeah, well, reading your bio, your assistant sent me, it was like the last part, like reading about myself. So it was really nice. So in this way, you know, we're with like-minded, and yeah, I'm so proud that you, as a highly sensitive woman, went on the TEDx stage for all of us. So thank you for doing that first.
Yay! Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, I think for me that was a special moment that I felt every HSP behind me, backing me, knowing that I was sharing not just my voice, but the voice of so many of us. So it was a really special moment.
Yeah, yes, yeah, wonderful. I celebrate with you from afar.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So Elena and I didn't have to give up our membership to the Special Snowflake Society because there isn't one.
That's correct.
Yeah. And I was wondering, were there people that really shared with you when you were younger, as a young girl, that you were an honorable member of the Special Snowflake Society?
Yes, yes. I was always considered a bit of a princess on the pea because, like all of us highly sensitive girls, I reacted more strongly to things. And my parents, I was very lucky. They were a very loving parents. So I had a very happy childhood, notwithstanding that they didn't know that I was highly sensitive. They just realized I was a bit different than my brother and different than the other children. And they just communicated to me that I was okay the way I am. But at the same time, there were things that they probably couldn't understand, where I felt a bit lonely on the inside because nobody felt the same way I felt about things. So
yes,
I think we all have that experience growing up in one way or another, that we are a bit alienated. And of course, in school, it was a bit tougher. I had teachers that were certain to tell me I'm a member of the Snowflake Society. I also had my friends in school that sometimes laughed at me or made fun of me for being a bit what they considered too princessy, which actually was just being very sensitive. That's all.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. And that's exactly why I'm writing the book about high sensitive children in education, because just like you shared, there are many children who feel different. It's not that I think that different is wrong. It's beautiful
Yeah.
to be different. But yeah, sometimes it's difficult to discern for a child when being different still feels wholesome to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's very true. And it took me, I think, until my adult years to truly befriend my sensitivity and understand myself, because I just thought I'm different, and I kind of tried to not be different with, of course, very little success. As we all know, it's not like we can turn on and off the sensitive switch in our brain, it's always on. So I realized this is who I am, and the more I learned about it and accepted myself, the older I got, the easier it became for me to thrive as a sensitive person.
Yeah. So what was the moment that you heard about high sensitivity, about sensory processing sensitivity?
That was actually in my early 20s. My best friend, her sister, had a book lying around, which we all know, Dr. Elena Herdieckerhoff's book about high sensitivity, and she was reading it. And she said to me, "Oh, you should read this book." And I'm like, highly sensitive person, that didn't mean anything to me. I've never heard this term before. And I thought, but what I had heard before was, "You're so sensitive, you're too sensitive, you should toughen up." I heard that all my life. So I thought, well, maybe there's something to this book. And I read it, and that kind of started my journey of being aware of my sensitivity and being able to understand my sensitivity, leverage my gifts, and also better manage my sensitive shadow sides, perhaps.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful when you shared in a TED talk that you were chasing butterflies as a young girl in your garden, and what you're doing now. I thought about it this morning. It's the same, but in a different way. You're unleashing all the butterflies through your business and leading with love.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it like that. So thank you for sharing it. It's a beautiful way to see it. Yeah, I think my wish is to give all of us highly sensitive people wings, because many feel crushed, like the butterflies I had caught in my little mason jars. They feel crushed. They think they're safe, but really they're crushed because they're not living their mission. They're not sharing their beauty with the world. They're not out there. And if I can contribute in my lifetime to helping more highly sensitive people leave the cave of safety and allow themselves to step out and shine and use their gifts and speak up and really offer their gifts to the world, I think we're all better off for it.
Yes. Yeah, and you had a big transformation in the time that you created your own brand, Selexir of Switzerland, and of course you have to market and produce and speak about. You have to promote it, and also, of course, negotiating in business. So, what was it like for you as a highly sensitive woman to develop that skill of negotiation? In a world where we could live with love a lot more.
Yes, that's true. I realized that I was not going to win at entrepreneurship if I tried to play it like everybody else, because I know I can't compete on toughness. I know I can't compete on manipulative sales tactics. I knew all these things would just not work for me. But what I did know is that I had a great intuition. I did know that I can connect to people, and I did know that people trust me, and that I can establish authentic connections. So I just transferred all of these things into the business world and just treated my potential business partners as friends. I saw my clients as my family, and I just led from a heart-centered place. And I realized that even in our cutthroat world, that still works, because people, when they feel genuine love emanating from a person or a business, it touches their heart too. They're open to, even if maybe they themselves don't normally operate in that space, it makes them more open to receiving that energy and interacting with you on a similar frequency. And so I really try to allow myself to lead more with the heart than my mind. And that was a big transition for me, because in my early 20s, I felt that my mind would defend me in the world, that my mind and my education and what I perceived to be as my intelligence would protect me, and that this is how I'm going to make it in the world. And then I realized this was a defense mechanism from having been shunned for my sensitivity. And the more I let down those barriers, the less important the mind became to me, because I realized this is not the source of inspiration. It's not the source of connection. It's not the source even of abundance. It comes from a different place. And that place is really, you can only get there by opening your heart and tapping into a frequency of love. You can't get there through rational thinking.
Yes. So what were the days like that you did not feel in that higher frequency?
I felt that I was perhaps more in control of my life, but that was a fake sense of control, of course, because it was, the more you plan and have your lists and your business plans and your numbers and everything, it feels all very controlled and rigid, until you actually realize that you, as a highly sensitive person, become disconnected through that. It's not, for me, this wasn't the way to go. And so I slowly, inch by inch, let go of control and changed over more into a state of flow and allowing. So I didn't push for results. I didn't try to control results. I went more to a place of, if it's meant to be, it will be. The right things happen for me. If it's for the highest good of everyone involved, then it will manifest in a certain way. So I really let go of the grip of control. And it also was with a growing curve of self-confidence and self-love. It kind of coincided. And I think the more we hold on tightly, it's actually a manifestation of lacking self-love. And for me, I grew into that. I grew into self-love. Didn't come out of the womb with self-love, as probably none of us do. And I grew into that. And then it allowed me to slowly but surely shift into another way of doing life and doing business.
Yeah. So was there a physical effect after a time, that because you said you didn't grow into it and you had to learn that? What needed to happen before you went into self-love?
I realized that it was burning me out not to be in this state, because if you act against your nature, and for me, I was acting against my truth, I just wasn't aware that I was doing that, it makes you really tired. And I felt uninspired, tired, just thinking life is hard. It just didn't feel smooth to me. And a part of me knew this is not the way. There is a different way to do this. There must be a different way to do this. And that curiosity actually started the process, and the unwillingness to burn myself out in a hustle culture, because for me, this whole hustle culture of go faster, go bigger, go home, work 24 hours a day, answer your emails on a Sunday, all this kind of stuff, I thought, okay, this is how you have to do it. And then I thought, this is madness. This is absolute madness. This is not how I want to live my life. This is not who I am. And so I disengaged with that hustle culture. And I think it was really a combination of my body getting tired and my mind being curious about finding another way.
Yes. Yeah, the journey taught you so many things that you are now teaching other women, especially empowering their mindset. You mentioned earlier in another conversation that you think that more and more people will become entrepreneurs. And that's exactly what you do. You help them empower their mindset. Can you share with us what are some of the challenges that highly sensitive women deal with, when it's about business?
Yes. Well, part of the reason after I sold my skincare brand, I had this calling in my heart that I felt I want to help other sensitive entrepreneurs dare to dream big and dare to do big. Because one of the key mindsets that many, especially highly sensitive women have, is that they think very small, very local, very safe. And the reason for that is not because they don't have big dreams, but they have big fears. And they've been used to having a lot of pushback in their life, people doubting them, people telling them, you can't make it, you're too sensitive, how are you going to run a business? So they just kind of bury themselves and they don't allow themselves to blossom, when in fact, for many highly sensitive people, men and women, they really come into their own in entrepreneurship. There's a certain flourishing that happens to a sensitive soul in entrepreneurship because you don't have to conform to a boss who tells you to be there at 7 a.m. when maybe you're not a morning person, or to work in a bright office with the light shining in your face and you're like, I can't even concentrate, it's too bright for me. Like, you can adapt your lifestyle to your sensitive needs and you can bring your gifts into this world. And I think especially, and you are a beautiful example of that yourself, Suzanne, is highly sensitive people have one thing in common always, is that they come out of the box with a dream to make the world a better place. I think it's like ingrained in our psyche when we come to this planet. And so these gifts often shine extremely well when a highly sensitive person takes charge and moves into business. Now, some of the mindsets that get in the way of that are not only this thinking small, but also the big problem around money and money mindset. So many beautiful sensitive souls fear money as something that has a bad energy or it's not good to charge. So they don't charge enough to live off of their gifts. And then they have to have a second job, a third job, a fourth job just to keep things running. They burn out. And this money question about how can you make money ethically, authentically, and from a good feeling place is something that I think belongs in the core toolkit of every sensitive entrepreneur to move beyond this fear of receiving money. Because every sensitive person I know, they're great at giving. They're fantastic at giving money, time, affection, advice, everything. But the receiving part is much harder for most sensitive people, and they block the flow of abundance, because to me abundance is something that's truly cyclical. It goes out and it comes in. If it only goes out and you block the coming in because you undercharge or you feel bad about asking to be paid or having a money conversation with the client, then there's a blockage there, and that means the highly sensitive person doesn't get nourished by the energy of money. And then they get discouraged, they doubt themselves, they think, I must be a bad entrepreneur, there's something wrong with me, I can't make money. And then they abandon their mission because they can't live off of it. And so for me, it's really pivotal to help shift those beliefs around money into a different place so that they can receive the money for their gifts and contribute to the world while they themselves are nourished too.
Yes, and knowing that their life's work will be out in the world.
Absolutely.
Of that.
And
Yeah.
good work often needs good money. I mean, this is in the reality we are currently still living in. This is still the truth. So we can't bypass money.
Yes. So tell us more about leading with love.
Yes. So for me, I spend a lot of my business coaching career on mindset work, as you rightly said, also strategic things, because I do love that too, but also a lot of mindset work. And then over the years of coaching, it dawned on me that there is a bigger picture than just mindset. There's a mindset 2.0, which for me is actually consciousness work. And Einstein said so magically, you can't solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. And I realized when it comes to mindset, you can't outthink yourself out of a mindset that is part of an overall consciousness. So for example, if we take money, if you're stuck in a kind of scarcity consciousness, then it's extremely hard just to mindset your way out of that. You have to shift on a vibrational level so that you can then make the mindset shifts and for them to stick. So I realized really what we need to do is we need to put on a different lens. We need to have a different lens of consciousness and awareness. And the lens that I think elevates us to the level where we can do our best work is the lens of love. So for me, I call that love consciousness. What I mean by that is really filtering all of life and business through the lens of love and asking yourself, what would love do in these situations? Because love knows no scarcity. Love is the antidote to fear in many ways. And love is an excellent counsel. And most people think love is airy, fairy, fluffy unicorns. That's not at all true. Love is a fierce energy. Love is a very strong energy. And love is a fair and just energy. And it will guide you correctly if you allow yourself to make that your leading form of consciousness. So now I elevated my coaching to include that consciousness work so that people can change the things they want to change, like moving from intuition, intelligence work to intuition, moving from this control energy to this flow energy, and also moving out of fear-based thinking into more possibility-based thinking. And so that for me is leading with love. And I think that's how we can show up to do our best work, and also how we can find personal joy and satisfaction.
Yes, yes. Thank you. It's beautifully put.
Thank you for the opportunity to share that.
Yeah. What do you want to share with highly sensitive women who are thinking about starting a business or are already in business? What do they need to hear?
I think they need to hear that they're there for a reason, that they can trust their purpose and their gifts, and that they will be carried by the forces of life if they dare to step out and really voice their truth with the world. Because every highly sensitive person, and every human being really, is born with a gift. And if you feel that your gift is meant to be unwrapped in an environment of entrepreneurship, then go forward as boldly as you can, get the right allies on board, get the right mentors on board, and then trust that you are here for a reason and you are going to get the necessary visible and invisible support to make it happen.
Yes, thank you. It's so wonderful to hear everybody's, from all the speakers, all the messages. And in your TEDx talk, you spoke about making the world a gentler place.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we're all doing here. And thank you, Elena, for making the world a gentler place.
Thank you, Suzanne, for allowing me to share that, and for you to do the same thing, and for all of us really to hold hands as we go on this journey to share that life can be lived in a different way.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suzanne, and thank you, everyone.
Hi, my name is Elena Herdieckerhoff, and I love being a highly sensitive woman.